In this collection of 7 stories from around the world called The Barefoot Book of Earth Tales by Don Casey and Ann Wilson, you'll find out what happens when man and animals do not respect nature and take what is not theirs. Here are 2 tales that help to explain why it's not good to upset the circle of life. Why the Sky is Far Away takes us to Nigeria. A story is coming. Stop talking and listen. In the beginning, the sky was close to the earth. So close that you could reach up and touch it, and you could eat it. In those days, people always had enough to eat without ever having to work for it. Whenever anybody was hungry, they just reached up and tore off a piece of the sky. But the people grew careless with the sky's gifts. After all, the sky was big and there was plenty of it. Why should we be worried about it? Who cared? But the sky cared. People of Earth, I have warned you, and you have not heeded me. You have taken too much. Beware, because I will soon move very, very far away. Find out what happens when a woman is foolish enough to provoke the sky by taking too much to eat. From Bali comes the tale of Grumpy Gecko, who wakes Tiger, the chief of the jungle, to complain about the fireflies who are keeping him awake at night. Tiger goes to the fireflies to find out why they are lighting the night sky, and they tell him about Woodpecker. When Tiger confronts Woodpecker, he tells Tiger that he is warning the others about Beetle. Tiger goes to speak to Beetle to find out why he is rolling his dung. Beetle tells Tiger about the water buffalo and reveals the life cycle of the jungle. Read this book to find out what happens when Tiger finally gets to the heart of the matter and figures out who is the real problem.
We think of a bird as harmless, but what if there were millions of them and they were eating the grain that was planted for the people to eat? In the year 1958, and China was about to go to war with the sparrow.
A decree was announced and the Sparrow War was started to stop them from eating the wheat crop. One young girl, Ming Li, questioned the wisdom of this plan. How, she thought, could the other birds, such as the nightingale, the swallow, or the pigeon, not be killed? Village elders told her that she was being silly because their fearless leader thought up the plan and he was never wrong. Only Ming Li seemed to understand what would happen if all the birds died. With the help of her brother, Ming Li defied the decree and saved any bird that fell to the ground and was still alive. What happens when the village elders find out her secret? Will she face death for defying the decree? Read Sparrow Girl by Sarah Pennypacker and find out. Have you ever heard the phrase, go hug a tree, and wondered where it came from or what it means? If you go to India and find the province of Rajasthan, they'll tell you a story about a girl named Amrita and her love for trees. In her poor village, which was located on the edge of a great desert, the sandstorms blew long and fierce. The only thing that protected Amrita and her village from the punishing storms were the trees of the forest. One day, a group of men armed with axes came to her village to chop her trees down. Amrita tried to stop them by shouting, but it didn't work. The only thing that she could think of doing was to hug a tree and put herself in the way of the axe. Would this stop the men, or would they take her life along with that of the tree? Read The People Who Hug the Trees, an Indian folktale adapted by Deborah Lee Rose, to find out what happens to Amrita and the trees of her forest. When someone talks about aliens, do you look up into the sky and look for flying saucers from outer space? What if somebody told you that aliens are walking the earth and we didn't recognize them? Well, prepare to be amazed as you find out that aliens indeed walk among us. Aliens are plants or animals that invade another ecosystem, which is a natural community of plants and animals that live in balance with one another. Scientists call these aliens exotics, which means to come from outside. What seemed perfectly innocent to people who traveled great distances to colonize land, such as bringing their pets or their favorite seeds to plant like blackberries, became a nightmare when these species invaded and took over. Read Aliens from Earth, When Animals and Plants Invade Other Ecosystems by Mary Batten to find out what other aliens are walking the Earth.